Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and firstly I have to say thank you so much to everybody that has subscribed already, something like 9,200 subscribers. I really appreciate that. If you do like this video or any of the others, or you fancy subscribing, please do so, it really helps me out. I've got a lot of plans for this channel and I will be putting a lot more content, Fuji, weddings, street photography, all that kind of stuff. Lots of related content coming soon, so please subscribe, hit the bell down in the corner if you so wish, and get subscription updates as they come through. Okay, so one of the questions I get quite a lot, and I've been having it recently, probably every video I've posted in the last couple of months, somebody has said, you know, can you just tell us what's in your camera bag? So this is what I'm going to do today. This is my wedding camera bag. This is what I would take to a typical wedding, not for street photography, not necessarily for family day in the life stuff, but for my weddings, and perhaps I'll do another video for the street photography stuff in the near future. But for today, I'm just going to go through what I take with me to a typical wedding. I have a wedding coming up on Saturday, so this is pretty much what I'll take with me. The bag I take is this, it's a Filson Magnum bag actually. It's a David Allen Harvey one. I'll put links to everything in below, of course. It's a little green, kind of pretty lightweight, weather resistant. It's a little bit battered now, I've had it quite a while. Quite light, quite small, just throws it over my shoulder. Gets pretty much everything I need in here, with the exception of kind of any backup equipment, which I'll keep in the car. But everything is in here, so yeah, let's go through and see what we have. Okay, so in terms of, well, let's just go through in the front panels really. I have this, one of the questions I get a lot, you wouldn't believe how many times I get asked this question, is what do you use for flash photography, what do you use for lights? And the fact is I don't really use any flash at all, as well. As long as I can help it, I will not use any flash. I have this Manfrotto little, whoa, see how bright that is? It's a little LED light. It's Lumimuse, I think it's called. This is the 456 light adapter light. It can sit on a tripod, you can sit on top of the camera. Typically when I'm using it to shoot, I will be shooting like this, first dance stuff. I'll have the camera to my eye, obviously there'll be a lens on it, camera to my eye, and I'll just use this to kind of get focus acquisition if necessary. And if, you know, if it's too bright, which it is quite bright, it can be dimmed of course. 3 levels, boom, boom, there we go, quite low there. And when I'm shooting with it, I'll just drop it down to my chest so I'm not kind of glaring everybody. And I'll just use it, maybe lift it up a little bit, just for a little bit of focus acquisition really, and illumination during the really dark parts of the first dance, or the dancing sequence. Definitely wouldn't use this during the ceremony or any other part of the day really. So that brings us on to the cameras. I will shoot with 2 X Pro 2s during a wedding generally. Just pull this stuff out. Now this one here, this is, they're both X Pro 2s obviously. This one has a little adapter ratchet on the bottom here, which will sit on my, where is it? My spider holster belt. So I'm gonna have to stand up to show you this. Let's see how it works. This will go on here like this, as such. The camera just drops in, and it's just a very quick release. I just pull that up and pull it out like that. And it's just a very quick release, so I'll just pop it in and I'll just pull it out like that. It's very simple. That will always sit on my belt. So I have one camera running with that, with the spider holster, and the other camera, which will be this other X Pro 2 here, has a strap on it. Now I like to use one camera with a strap and one on my hip. I don't particularly like using the cross holsters or anything like that some people use. I mean, they're fine of course, if you like them then use them, but for me I like to use a strap, a traditional strap. This is by a company called Upstrap in the United States. I don't know whether you can get them in the UK, these straps. You have to maybe import them from the States. I've had this for years. It's a Kevlar strap, so it's made of non-slip material, which means that it can just sit on my shoulder and I have no worries about it falling off. It doesn't slip or anything like that. It's been really good. I've actually had this strap since my DSLR days. It's perfect, really good little strap, excellent for what it does. Now, in terms of what else do we have in the bag? In the front pockets here, I have my, this is the X70, so that will normally come with me to a wedding, and whether I use it or not, it depends a little bit on the wedding, depends a lot on the light and depends on the environment. If I am going to pull it out the bag, it will probably just go in my jacket pocket. As you can see, it's lightweight. I've done lots of videos on the X70 in the past, so have a look on my channel for the X70 stuff. This is a camera that I really hope Fujifilm upgrade in the future. These straps are from the Peak Design camera strap system that I typically use on the smaller cameras, and they just plug in. I don't have a strap with me right now because I've been out shooting with it without it. Flip out screen, obviously, very lightweight, very small, very good for getting kind of wide angle shots, but being really totally discreet. So really cool little camera. I really like that one still. What else have we got in here? Obviously I have a handful of batteries, 3 or 4 batteries in that pocket there. I have a set of headphones. I'm not going to use them during the wedding, of course, but I might use them if I'm doing a little bit of editing later on. And that brings us to the other front panel pocket, which has my X100F. This is the square hood on it, by the way. I'll link again to that in the bottom. Nice little hood. It's much lighter and much better than the little rain metal one that comes with the camera. I prefer this hood entirely, really, and it works also on the X70. X100F, again, a camera that I use quite a lot at weddings, nowhere near as much as the X Pro 2s, of course. And again, it depends on the environment, depends on what I'm trying to shoot, where I'm trying to shoot, but it will come with me, guaranteed, to every single wedding. Whether I use it or not, don't know, but it will come with me to every wedding. Okay, now inside here, what else do we have? Nothing else in there as far as I can tell. So lenses, I have, this is the 18mm f2, which is my wide angle lens. Essentially, this is what I will use for my wide angle shooting if need be. I don't really go wider than 18mm. Of course, I have 16mm lens and I have some of the zooms, but in fact, the 16mm lens is what I'm filming this on. I can't remember the last time I've shot wider than this 18mm at the wedding. Occasionally I'll put the wide angle conversion lens on either the X70 or the X100F, which is perfectly good. But this is really as far as I go. Very lightweight, very small, just kind of sits in there again, doesn't get used that much. So what else have we got here? So this is the 56 f1.2, this is my workhorse lens for my telefocal stuff. This is 85mm equivalent full frame. Again, I haven't gone any longer than this at a wedding that I can remember. I also have the 90mm f2. I don't have the 80mm macro lens, which I know that a lot of people are using and are really enjoying it. This is great for, you know, when you want depth of field, you want that bokeh. And for f1.2 in low light, it's amazing. It's really good. It's with the newer firmware updates, especially to the X Pro 2 and the XT2, the focus acquisition on it is really good. You know, I've used this lens ever since it came out. This is my second version of it because the previous one got damaged when I dropped it down a set of stairs. So this is my second one, and yeah, it's cool. Perfect lens for me for that kind of, especially in the ceremony when you're trying to get, you know, that kind of get the feeling of the ceremony, but you want the depth of field. You want to get something that's going to separate the subject, separate the bride and groom perhaps from the congregation that are behind them, or pop them out when they're at the front of the church or during a drink reception. Perfect lens for that. What else have we got in here? So I have a, that's to do with my computer, which I'll talk about in a moment. So this is one of my backup lenses, I guess. This is the 23 f2, lightweight, very small, weather sealed. It's a lens that, again, I take it all the time. I actually prefer still realistically the 23 1.4, which is also in here. This is 23 1.4, and the reason I like the 1.4 more is because I don't like going back to my bag. I don't like going back to the bag to get new lenses and get new equipment out. So often, especially here in the UK when the weather's not great, I will be using a lens that's going to work just that extra stop of light, essentially. Yeah, of course, it's got that little bit more depth of field also, but it's more about the light gathering capabilities of the lens more than anything. This lens is perfectly good, of course. I still use it, but this is the one. This is the workhorse. This 23 1.4 is probably the one I use the most out of those two. Okay, so what else have we got in here? Again, another backup lens. This is the 50 f2. Comparing it to that 56 1.2, obviously it's much smaller. Again, weather sealed, lighter. Everything kind of points to this being a better lens. But that stop of light makes the big difference. And like I said, when I'm not returning to the bag, I try not to return to the bag. That one works out better for me. Although I must say that this 50 f2 gets used more than the 23 f2 generally, just because it's quite nice to just pop this on during a longer drinks reception when I still want to have a wide angle, the 23 on the one camera and the 56 or the 50 on the other, which will give me that kind of ability to look into the congregation, look into the audience, look into the people, and just pop out record shots, headshots if you like. It's a really nice lens for that too. But really, the 1.2 lens is the one I will use the most. And what else have we got? I have a battery charger, of course, just in case. I don't typically try and charge batteries during the break or anything. I normally take enough batteries with me. There's another battery. I have some pens. In the back, I have a little Manfrotto little tripod. Very simple thing, 3 legs, obviously, little swivel head, just press the button down and swivels around. It's pretty good if I'm doing any long exposures for the venue or something like that late at night. I can use that, just pop that down. Very occasionally, don't do it very often, but very occasionally I might even do a time lapse of the drink reception or something, and I'll just pop it in a corner or on a, you know, above a table or something like that. Pop the camera on time lapse, stick the camera on there, of course, and away it goes. So it's really more for occasional use rather than being used in any kind of essence of purpose. What else have we got here? I've got a little notebook that I will use to take down any notes if I need to. Some more pens, cleaner, wiper. This is a lens pen. Pretty good just for, you know, dusting off any dust on the lenses. Pretty straightforward. The lid comes off as well, and there's a kind of a static remover on the top there, so I can just dab it on the lens if need be, if there's any kind of more severe dust marks or anything that are not coming off with the little brush on the end. Pretty handy to have. Okay, so what else do we have inside the camera bag? So here, this is what I use for my memory cards and my batteries when I'm shooting. Again, this is something that goes on my belt, just pops on my belt there. And inside, the way that I typically do it is I put my empty memory cards in the front. Okay, so these I always know are empty. There's nothing on those whatsoever. When the memory cards are full, or when I'm swapping them out of the camera, then I'll put them inside here. So all of my memory cards that go in there I know have been used. And then if I'm shooting with both camera slots and one of them is being set as a backup, when the backup card is full, typically I will shoot, in fact always I will shoot with memory cards that are the same style, the same make, etc. And often I'll shoot with a 256 gig card as the backup memory card. Now that doesn't necessarily need to come out of the camera. Maybe 3, 4, 5 weddings I can fit on there. I just leave it in, it's backup. The raw files typically go there. JPEGs typically go to the other memory cards, which I'll swap in and out. Inside here also I'll leave my my batteries, my spare batteries, so I have them with me at all times, so I can just pop them into the camera. It's RF protected, which means that if you do go through anything that's likely to suck the data off your memory cards, pretty unlikely, but it's RF protected, it's weatherproof, etc. This is actually by a company called Life Venture, and it's meant to be for you know, travelers, adventurers, people kind of out and about in the wild, wet weather. It's got a couple of other little pockets in there, and I keep a old memory card in there, and I keep a where is it, in here, a wrench, if I can pull it out, which is for tightening up this if necessary. If it needs to be tightened, I can just do that, tighten that. So that all sits in there also. That means I can have my 2X Pro 2s, 2 lenses, my little bag of goodies with me at all times when I'm shooting, and then I really do not need to go back to the camera, to the bag at all. The other thing that I will normally take with me is my Microsoft Surface book, which is my laptop. I will do another video about this actually in the future. This is, you know, this obviously isn't a Mac versus PC debate in any way, shape or form. I've always used PCs. I know lots of people use Macs. But when this came out 2 years ago or so, this is a bit of a lifesaver really, because I do a lot of editing when I'm on the go. So when I'm shooting weddings and I'm taking a break, I can use, I use Lightroom Smart Collections and Smart Previews to have a lightweight version of previous weddings, etc. on here, and I'll just edit as I go. The lid flips out. I can use the pen, which is here, to use it almost like a Wacom tablet, and it's great, very lightweight, 13.5-inch screen, and that is good to go in there. I think pretty much that's it. What else have we got in this pocket, if anything? Couple more batteries. I have the wide angle conversion lens here for the X100, the X100F. That's pretty much it, not a lot more to it. I will have thrown up some images onto the screens to show you the various lenses and cameras as we go along, but that's it, not much to it. My camera bag for a wedding is pretty lightweight, all goes in this little green Filson camera bag. It's a perfect bag for me. And in the reserve bag in the camera, in the car, I will probably have my X-T2 which I have two XT2. I actually have three X Pro 2s and two XT2s. In the car, I will have a spare camera, or two spare cameras, a couple of spare lenses, and various other bits and pieces. Simple things like a spare shirt, you know, water, food, all of that kind of stuff. Spare shirt has saved me a couple of times when I've either spilt it or it's got very hot and messy, and you know, you just want to kind of freshen up. All that kind of stuff is in the car. Toothpaste, everything like that you need just on a general day out when you're away from home for 12 hours or so, everything that you need to keep you going. And that's it, yeah, pretty much. So that's what's in my wedding camera bag. Like I said, if you like the video, please like it. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, leave them below and I will get back to you. And do subscribe to the channel if you can. I really appreciate it. And I shall see you next time.